Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to our first episode of Outside the Fox with co-host Xavier Quinones. I am Spencer Clark, and we're coming to you talk today about Switch 2 Direct. We are so ready for today's episode, and we are ready. So we're just going to dive on in, and I guess before it's our first episode, but you can follow us. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. All of our social links will be posted in the show notes and below. So thank you very much. And Xavier, you want to start first?
All right. Let's do the big one right away. Release date, June 5th. All right. They didn't talk about pricing at all.
Yeah.
Which was a little weird. We had to find out afterwards on social media.
I had to look for it. I had to hunt it down.
Yeah. What do you think about the pricing?
Personally, I love it because I come from the retailer perspective. I ended up looking at the numbers and everything else, and I think the biggest thing is I go with, you did give me a snippet earlier of what you said is very un-Nintendo like, and you expect it from Sony. I agree. The next one, PS6 or whatever it's going to be, we expect it to be probably 600, 700. When the Pro came out, it did shock a little bit, but it was kind of in brand. Nintendo's always that family brand, so it's kind of a little weird. But everything's getting more expensive these days. I mean, we all kind of know it's been a harder economy with some stuff going on here in the works, maybe with tariffs. Maybe they baked that into the price, maybe they didn't. But
that's what I was thinking too. I think that they were thinking about tariffs and they were worried about the tariffs. I think that's another reason they didn't immediately announce it. They were just well, we don't really know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So, but then that information got out there. So I don't know. I have no idea what to think. It definitely is a very un-Nintendo-like because they've never focused on hardware and money or anything like that. I'm not saying that's what they're doing now, but it seems that they're really being conscious of pricing, and they need to make a little more money this time around. So $449, I'm gonna pay it regardless.
Oh yeah,
I don't care.
It does not matter on the price to me. I'm getting it. So
yeah.
I think it's right in line. I mean, for the fact of what the specs were, I think that if it was more in the range of where we're used to, I hate to say, kind of disappointing on the spec side. People get really hung up on Nintendo specs.
Yeah.
4K, 120 hertz, HDR, docked, obviously being 4K, but handheld 1080p, very impressive. I was very, very, very excited to see that. I'm not somebody who gets hung up on that, but what I do know about that is third-party support is going to be so much easier. A lot of those games like Elden Ring, which relatively was recent, did come out on PS5. Is it going to match PS5? Probably not. But I'm I'm happier to see that they're going to have something come out that's going to be able to handle that, Yeah. Hogwarts Legacy, we got a very, just out of the box. It was, it was a totally different game, than the other two, And, I think that's good that we're actually getting the full game. And the fact that this system can handle, now they're hey, this game's coming back out for Switch 2, but I think it's appropriate, I've heard rumors of Red Dead 2. I was kind of shocked not to see that, but I actually, again, it won't look as pretty as something on PC, but that's not the point. It's handheld, it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
You can support Nintendo just by having that, and I love it. I think Steam Deck's great and all, but I love Nintendo.
That's always been the big draw of Switch. Anyway, it was I still get blown away. It's been years, and I still get blown away that I'm playing a game on my TV and I can just pick it up and take it with me. It's not going to perform as well, obviously, but I think that's gonna that's always been the draw. And I think, speaking of Hogwarts Legacy, that's going to be the direct comparison for me because it came out and it was not great. It was horrendous, some would say. So I think them doing a Switch 1 versus Switch 2 comparison for that game specifically is going to be kind of the baseline. Okay, here's how much more impressive Switch 2 is. Or if some people are going to say it falls short. You know what I mean? Nintendo's never been about specs or anything like that. I don't care. I like Nintendo titles. I don't really, if third party isn't supporting them, that's fine. They're still going to make great games, great products at the end of the day. But third party's coming around this time, so that's going to be a huge advantage for Nintendo.
As a Nintendo fan, I'm pouring out enthusiasm. I am this is just all day. Everyone around me has been hey, I've been waiting for this podcast. I've been waiting all day for this video because I'm like,
you literally vibrated in the studio through the walls like Flash. So yeah,
so ready. And I, obviously try to be a little unbiased to, because having the store environment, we support all 3 consoles, all major. So like, obviously I show love to everybody, but as someone who grew up with Nintendo, who's had every Nintendo console, I am just pumped. I mean, I cannot explain.
Oh, yeah.
And
we both wrote our own notes down and everything, so we're just gonna like go beat for beat, or what do you want to talk about next? What's on your?
I think
slate?
the easy one to lay up here is like the Switch 2 versus Switch 1 versions. We're getting Switch 2 versions. You were talking about Hogwarts Legacy. I feel that's a very good point of like, if you want to see what this thing could do, and people are going to do it. Like in the coming weeks, we're going to see tons of like videos of like people trying to show off the technical prowess of the Switch 2. I mean, Zelda, that's going to be one that I think is going to really shine. Metroid Prime 4. I've been sitting here thinking, for the last year or two, Metroid Prime 4 was a delay. Not anymore because the game's not being finished, but because they were like, Switch 2's around the corner.
Yep.
They announced it at the Switch 1 reveal. So, like we're getting it at the end, but I'm glad we're getting it. It reminds me of Breath of the Wild, the first one, where it was on Wii U, it was on Switch, so they didn't leave people behind there, but they also, not as many people bought it, but I still think it's going to do great. I mean, the fact that they did something, again, a little bit un-Nintendo-like. You're not used to this Nintendo, I feel like, and they pulled kind of like, something you're used to seeing like Ragnarok, God of War. I saw they did the quality, cinematic mode, and they did the frame rate. They presented like, hey, you want to do it at 60 frames per second, but like it's runs at this speed, and if you want to do 120, but you got to run it, like at the graphics levels. I love that. I love the fact that they presented that because it shows that they are keeping up with that. Like they have the family aspect, and there was plenty. I mean, I could jump around easily. There's plenty of stuff they're still keeping true to their family aspects, couch, co-op, which is like they're probably the only one that really still cares enough about that dynamic a lot. Like I always tell people, like Xbox is great for like, if you're doing like a solo kind of game or like online, it's amazing. PlayStation does fit kind of that middle of the ground. Like they do have some family games and they do have some online games, but Nintendo kills it on that market. Like that's their bread and butter, and like. I think they're coming a little bit for their lunch, just a little. I'm not saying they'll because
a smidge,
a very small amount.
Yeah,
like the scraps, but they're coming for them just a little. But they've never cared a lot about that either. So I'll just say 10-year comparison. Compare Wii U where we got the launch, and I saw my Wii U twice because I bought it back because each time, and it was just like as a Nintendo fan, like I tried to love it. I tried to be like. To take my cough medicine and be like, I was like, I'm going to try to swallow this.
I like the Wii U was great for me because, I mean, the library was just not very awesome, but it saved me because I had spinal surgery at the time. And so having a portable way to like watch videos through apps, Netflix. And when I watched the entirety of Dr. House or House MD, like just laying in bed the whole time. Plus I could play Smash. Like it was great for me, but like it was definitely lacking. The fact that everybody asked the same question, it has a tablet, you can play portable, can I take it with me? And said no. You know what I mean? So I think that the Switch was just basically like an answer to that. It's like, you want to take it with you? Here you go. But their family dynamic has always been their big thing. And you talking about like the camera setup that they're doing now, crazy.
I think one of the things I remember is like Wii U just... Launch titles were very weak. Third-party support, it was the last time we got a Call of Duty, last time we got a Madden, last time we really, and I know why, it's because the Wii did so well. It killed it. Numbers, it's just like Switch. You had to be on there. You were going to make crazy money. And like, to see the total difference for Switch 2, like the third-party support was just outpouring. I mean, it was, and it's not just like, we got some, like, look at the difference between like Capcom. We got Ultra Street Fighter 2 challenges as launch title-ish, and this time we got Street Fighter 6. We got the proper, true Street Fighter in its full form. And I mean, like, that was total difference for Capcom.
I was half hoping that they would come out with a bunch of, like, hey, here's Switch 2 ports of it, and it was just, like, Armored Edition, because that Batman Armored Edition was hilarious to me. I think Tekken also had, like, Armored Edition. It was so weird. That was, like, a weird marketing thing that they did.
I always love when they attached, like, little, like, Batman did that with... They did it with the Wii U one. Like
the Armored Edition.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. So I love that though. Like it's so weird. Like that's so they.
I was like, what are we talking about? Like they kind of did it with like the tarnished edition for Elden
Oh
Ring.
yeah,
like,
right. For Elden Ring, yeah.
Yeah, but I was like hoping they would just do something as like armored edition because I would have lost it. That would have been hilarious.
It was like I said, total night and day difference. I mean, like I was excited for Switch. They did have a great lineup.
Yeah,
I think it's when people third party was a little skittish still.
it's bad.
They were a little skittish going into it, but like that first year was strong. It was Breath of the Wild launch day.
Yeah.
Super Mario Odyssey 6 months in. I think Splatoon 2 was pretty relatively first 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I think launch window.
Smash was a year and a half, but like that first window though, I mean, I remember launch day was like I think it Just Dance, Super Bomberman R. It was some okay titles. Mario Kart 8 came out a month after. I remember that. It was like May, and it came out, I believe it was March 3rd, so it was like maybe 2 months after. And just the Nintendo lineup was strong, but they were still kind of hesitant. The sales are there, and like just looking at how they've came full circle, I think they did something in this last life cycle. They started chasing more like adult games. Yeah, you know, like Doom. They had on the console. They had Skyrim. They had more heavier content kind of style games. Yeah. And so like they still have, again, they have Mario Party. They have Donkey Kong. They have Kirby. They have Smash. They have all those titles, but now they're like, hey, we also have all these too. The only thing going into this I really need to see them fix, and they didn't even address, was the online library. Like buying a digital game is a nightmare.
It's
halftime,
bad.
I'm gonna be real.
eShop is horrendous.
The first 30, 10 of them are hentai something games. So like you're literally like trying to get past those. The other parts, it's like the same games. I look to the best sellers and or like recent hits and pray to God the best selling of that ends up being games that I care about.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like they need folders. At the beginning it was fine. At this point in the game it is sluggish, like loading the pages are slow.
That's my biggest issue with it. It's just so bad. I click on something and it doesn't load right away. I'm like, what's going on? And I end up like it shifts the nanosecond before I touch it again, and I click some weird game. I'm like, really? Like, please.
And themes. At the beginning, I remember being so excited because we had the white and black theme. 2025, we still got black and white theme. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why can't we have 3DS was a great example of like how you could do themes. And you want to charge 99 cents, $1.99 if it's worth it?
Yeah, I'm willing
I'll
to.
pay it on the right theme. I don't care. I'd actually like my console to be a little bit personalized.
A Splatoon theme would kill. It would kill, dude. Oh.
Yeah. Not selling that OLED. The one I have, we already talked about it. I mean, just amazing. So, what
else you got? What you got?
Well, I'll say, okay, biggest launch title, one that's selling the console, one that sold Switch one that has done absolutely amazing, Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
First take, I remember being the most impressive, multiple things. The cow. The cow was a character. The cow. I love that. The 64 cow is a character. Personally, and this might jump a little bit, the Donkey Kong redesign. Yeah. I love it, actually.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong's that's my jam. That's my favorite Nintendo character. I thought I almost would kind of hate it, but with not jumping into it, but like with Bonanza and this, I love it. I actually think it's really cool. I think it's because Rare Design, they did the redesign when they did Country.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo in a way is kind of retaking the IP and saying like, hey, we did this, God, for 20 years, 30. Honestly, I guess since the early, like mid 90s.
Honestly, it's kind of been the same. He had the same attitude and all that. He's way more expressive now. When they showed that initial like Mario Kart trailer and his eyes, he's like in the background, his eyes were all beady looking. I said, I hate it. This is bad. But like seeing him in that Bonanza trailer, way more expressive. He seems way cuter, but more fun. Like I like it a lot. It's
fierce in a way too, because like when we smash everything, like
good.
I love the fact they did a redesign. Like I didn't know I needed it, but it reminds me of Super Mario Brothers Wonder when I saw the redesign of Mario, and I loved it. And we'll just say as far as cameos, I love that the little flower from Wonder is on
the,
I love it. We actually every level I look forward to like finding that flower and what is he going to say? Like what like they'd freak out or something would happen to him.
He's also in the Jamboree trailer.
Yes.
The new little like things that they're adding. They're on a little coaster thing or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
They love to do themes like GameCube. I remember several themes like Gad. Like he had like the the professor and like disappears. But GameCube, like he was in all the Mario parties. He was in a lot of like Sunshine and Luigi's Mansion, he designed the vacuum, I'm pretty certain.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
Professor Egad.
Yeah, they'll do like that, and they'll be like, "Hey, this is." So I'm shocked the flower, maybe because it's late switch that he actually made the transition to switch to. Like, shocked.
And he also, if I remember, there was like a little bit of controversy when it came to him because he had a couple of lines that were considered a little, off kilter, I guess you could say. But so I'm surprised that they were like, you know what, come on back.
Yeah, I personally love it, and I know I jumped a little bit there, but the DK, I'm so excited.
Bonanza's great. It looks amazing. I thought it was Odyssey 2 at first, and then I saw like a Diddy-looking, monkeys like mining, and I said, "Oh, really? Okay."
That one I am a little concerned with. Because if they design him, they can't just leave the others.
Yeah,
I can see him kind of going in a mid design of Rare because like the Rare design and his current design look kind of with the way Diddy's eyes are. Like but I am a little nervous on the other Kongs, but at the same time, pretty hopeful if this one turned out super well.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Mario one. I thought they would for us as DK to be like the ending trailer. I was like, let's go.
We're in. It's been what since DK64?
DK64 for a 3D.
Oh my god!
And it's not a collectathon,
Yeah.
It gave me some Jungle Beat vibes with some of the boss designs and stuff they did. So. I don't know. I'm so happy. Like so. I mean,
I think as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, he's gonna lose his mind. He is dying right now.
I already missed out the Nike. 4 days and the Air Maxes, the DK Air Maxes missed them. They're like 3 something. I looked. They're originally 160. I'm not that kind of person.
Just go on StockX and pay $1,000, man. Come on.
I think I'm wearing 13, so like I'm always that freak. Well, I'm not freakishly large. There's gonna be some guy in the comments. It's like I'm a 15 or like
I'm a 27. I'm Shaq.
Yeah. So
always,
like I was like, but for me, I'm at the edge of like normal. I can walk into a Journeys and I'm at the edge of what is accepted.
I'm still not happy. This man won the PlayStation shoes.
I was gonna wear them today, but
didn't even care about them. Straight up, me and the manager of Red Fox, Tyler, are just sitting there like, oh, I hope we get it. And he's like, oh, what do you do? Is there a shoe or something? Oh, look, I got them.
Look, I was about to say, man, I think it's cut. Yeah, exactly. Well, to get back to Mario Kart, because like obviously, I like the fact that the it's free roam. You can bounce off the walls. I was at the point of like, what possibly could you do next? And they obviously showed me that's why they design games. I mean, because they literally just had the characters. I mean, like, and the costumes. I know it's stupid. Maybe it's a small little thing, but I loved it. Love the skins. Love it. I can see the fan art. As soon as I saw some of them, I was like I think I saw Cowboy Luigi and like stuff like that. Or like Farmer Luigi. I was like, we're about to get wild.
Yeah.
The internet is about to go off. I remember when Wonder came out and there was Elephant Mario. People would be like, "Go on, Thick King!" Like they'd be like, so like the fan art is going to be out of this world. Like it's going to be amazing.
And those selfies too, because that selfie mode, as you can just explore with your friends and take selfies. Like that's amazing. I was like, that's really clever. I like that.
Mario Kart Arcade. I felt like when you go to like round 1 or arcade, and you have like they take the pictures as you're playing.
Yep.
I was sitting there thinking the whole time, I was like, this is like I think they're taking a little bit from that and they're kind of adding it to the home console, which. Again, find your influences where you want to find them. I'm down for it.
Yeah.
And like the factor. I think that one thing I will talk about we haven't gotten to is the price because going back to your prices. I did see that one I believe is $79.99.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Bonanza they gave prices for that was like $69.99.
Yeah, but I don't think none of the DKs, the modern DKs, are full priced. That I can recall anyway. I don't think none of them have been full price. They've always been not budget titles, but lower than retail, I guess you can say.
This conversation's one where I think I was talking earlier about being like a retailer. Like,
yeah.
We're just someone who sees that. Like Breath of the Wild, like when they did it, they said it was their largest development team they ever had. 200 people worked on it. And like just take like the average, I'll just say for here, take the average income, multiply it, which I think is like in the 30,000 range. Let's just say 35 and multiply that by 200 per year, and it takes for me, games we've all been very blessed. They've been $59.99. We're spoiled, and like
big time.
Technically, games are more, but what they've done is this DLC model that basically like, hey, I know they hold back some games. I know there's times where like that $20 that they hit you with later or $30, that probably could have been part of the game.
Oh yeah,
the game should have been $80 or $90 based on development costs, but they're like, how can we keep that $59.99, and then like if you want the full experience, here's an extra 20 or 30. And from me, I guess almost personally, I would rather pay a little bit more, especially for a game I love, than have to wait. And like
yeah, I agree. Yeah, having to carve that out and then serve it to me a year later, I don't. Especially if I really enjoy the content, I want to experience it all at once. Sometimes I like to stagger stuff out, even if it's a brand new game, has lots of content. I like to all right, I'm going to stop for now and then continue next week or tomorrow or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I like that. And also, too, you got to remember in the 90s, there was no standard for games.
Yeah,
so,
Wild West.
Yeah, some of them were, $130. Killer Instinct, I think, at launch was like $120, and it came with a soundtrack, like a CD. And it's just...
God, man, that'd be wild. I know, because I didn't really buy. Obviously, parents looked at that. And I can imagine Time Machine. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy, like looking at that.
Bad. Yeah, Chrono Trigger, I think, was like 85 at launch, something like that, or 90. So I've been wondering how they've been like, oh, here's $60,
suppressing that.
Yeah,
so
like
long.
What? Breath of the Wild, $60. Like this thing should cost like $300.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like there's so much to do here.
With AAA development, I mean, we're all because like last week's Direct. Kind of light for me. Like I did like it. I'm not gonna be like entirely, but it wasn't all that great. But I knew with the Switch 2 Direct, they were holding it back. They were, I mean, like a lot again. Like I had people who talked to me, they were excited for like the new games, the games that like Rhythm had them. They haven't seen one forever, and that is cool for those fans. I'm really excited for them. But there wasn't anything big. There wasn't anything like, oh my god, this is coming out. And I knew they were holding back, and development costs have gotten out of hand, and like there wasn't a AAA. If we want AAA, if people love your open world GTAs, your open world like Assassin's Creed, bigger, badder Call of Duties, the prices probably just have to go up to kind of counteract that development cost a little bit.
Yeah, I don't mind paying more for games. I think that developers need it, especially in this environment now where they're losing their jobs constantly.
Yeah.
I don't mind paying a little more if it's warranted.
If
you're going to put out shovelware and expect me to pay full price, I'm not going to do that.
Well, in the end, like there's always level for abuse for this because you get companies like EA kind of rubbing their hands together, being like, so like when I say this, grain of salt to those who more companies I say really actually care, not chasing Ubisoft, I think, even does this a little bit of like chasing shareholders, chasing.
Yeah.
That is one thing I will say about Japanese companies going into like Nintendo or others. They don't have the same shareholder expectations. They don't have to perform every quarter. And not to get too far off topic on this, but they don't have to chase the quarterly profits like that. I think it's more overall about I would say probably maybe, and I'm a little bit of a guess, like 6 months to a year of well, just are you guys going in a more upper direction? Are you guys going in a direction you should be? Every quarter is hard. I feel like we push companies sometimes.
Yeah.
And, again, it's chasing the profits. And I feel like a little bit of it, sure, you can make financial decisions, but chase the passion too. Chase the fun. And a lot of times, if you're this excited, you will pay up. You will because you want to be a part of the experience. It's a community. It's everything. It's we all are involved, and it's part of why we do this.
I think that's why companies miss the mark a lot of times is they prioritize profits and shareholders and stock prices and everything. But if you just build the games and the experiences people want, they will give you money hand over fist. Just hands down, I will give you all the money in the world if you just kept pumping out good Splatoon games and good fighting games. You're going to get all of my money all the time. It doesn't matter.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, but if you're like, hey, we have to have a Splatoon every single year, and you're incrementally adding just things that don't matter, that's going to be a problem for me, and then people will stop buying it.
Well, let's kind of going into I think next thing was they kind of spent a good few minutes on just obviously as they should for a new console features. I mean
oh yeah.
I love the C button. I love the fact that the speculation what is it? I seen one meme that was hit C for Pokemon Coliseum to go straight to the GameCube game just different things like that and game share I thought great direction. I mean. I've seen that on other consoles, so again, that's why I was saying we're talking about on Nintendo, but a little bit of them, just a little bit of them coming for because normally I've seen the opposite. When Wii was popular, Sony's hey, we're doing the Move controllers and we're doing Kinect, and this is one where I see a little bit of Nintendo did do some new things, but they also kind of took some pages out of their books too and said, hey, we're doing this as well, and I like the game share. It's a nice feature to help everybody save a little money if everybody wants to play together but doesn't want to buy 4 copies of the game. And
I think that's really neat, and that goes back to like the 3DS era where you didn't have, especially with Mario Kart, you didn't need to have a second person with a second copy of the game and all that. You can just just download the game real quick and we can just play together.
And I think the C button it is such a beautiful middle ground for for like that middle ground of like they love couch co-op, they love families. But we are in an environment and a time and age when people do online gaming more.
Yeah.
So it's that beautiful middle ground where I saw, there's the 4 people. You can share what you're playing. You don't have to even share the same game. Hey, what are you playing? Hey, can I watch screenshots? Yeah. I did notice it's a little blurry, even in the video.
There's no way it's going to run that smooth.
It didn't look that smooth in the trailer. It looked realistic. Like, I will say, it didn't look 4K. You saw someone. Yeah. I saw it looking blurry in the video, and I was like, I hope it looks a little better than that, but I was like, that's probably about accurate.
I do like that it automatically like masks out the background for you if you want to do that. And I'm like, immediately I was like, streaming. Oh man, so many kids are going to get into streaming and doing that. Hopefully they have a way to like kind of monitor that, because I can see that being a problem, especially with the way people treat things. Like,
I was worried about that too, because they're so like last generation, like use like the phone app, and it was just like so inconvenient. Yeah. This one's like convenient, but I do get it because they protect kids. And I did like they immediately followed up with like, here's the Nintendo Switch parental controls app. Like they immediately went straight to that. Like, hey, parents, because even I was like, they need to figure this out, because that's gonna be the first question. Thing. And just last thing for me on the features. Pro controller, audio jack, mappable buttons,
mappable buttons. I was like, okay, they really are taking notes from other companies who are doing the programmable, the pro controllers. Now this is an actual pro controller. It's not just like, here's a basic design and NFC functionality. And now it's, hey, you've got way more options, way more things that you can do. It's not just connect it to your phone, then connect it to a separate headset for voice chat. Now you can just plug directly in. That's nice. Oh,
I think my biggest thing though, like I didn't hear any and they're not going to be able to address this. This is more of a collector's perspective. I would say the cart size, that was always a problem. Like they'd always, you buy something like I think LA Noir is one of them. Like you basically buy and it's like, hey, download half of it and half's on the cart. Yeah. And companies being too cheap because the price is on the carts. I did say they increased the size of the internal storage from 32 to 256. That's amazing. Yeah, but make these, because I believe Witcher 3 was the only ones where the developers said, hey, we'll buy, I think it's 32 gigabyte carts. It's one of the only examples I know of. They ate the cost and said, we got you. We're not going to make you download. Because from a collecting standpoint for longevity, if I go to put that in 20 years and the service is down, I cannot download the other part of that game. That cart, even though it's really beautiful, you did a physical, great. It's kind of useless a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's literally just for a shelf piece at that point.
Yeah, it's a placeholder, and I really hope that they basically kind of take that in consideration. I know we're in an environment with stuff increasing, and again, we go back to that. They might have increased prices to get ahead of it. They might have been like, hey, these prices are going to increase, so let's just go ahead and do it. Yeah. Let's just bake that into the price versus waiting. And then I would rather you go ahead and tell me the price up front than here's the price. Oh, now we're increasing the price. You know what I mean? I would much rather, at least you're up front with it and
Yeah. Hopefully in the future for not sustainability, just collectability and preservation's sake, I hope that, let's say, like an LA Noir situation where, the whole game isn't on this cart. Hopefully game sharing still exists. That's not something they can turn off after 10 years or whatever. That way, hey, I want to play this game, but I'm a little too late. My grandkids want to play it, but I can't download it anymore. Hey, you still have it on your console. Can I download it? Hopefully that's a thing you can do.
The only thing that scared me too, I will say, and I've learned this from doing our business, is the more moving parts on something, it more likely it breaks. Yep. When I saw the dock and I saw the fan, honestly need it. I mean, if you're going to do 4K, you're going to be running as hard as you are. I was like, hey, much needed. Keep that thing cool. But I also was already from that standpoint, I was already oh man, there's something to break. There's a longevity standpoint. I mean, it's a little fan and some other components that probably go there, but
I want to smell it.
The magnets, that was another thing that scared me and not, because I was like, boy, I hope that, I was like, some of this stuff's going to be very interesting from repair standpoints.
Yeah, but because the console itself would be difficult to repair, but luckily all the main stuff isn't on the actual Joy-Cons anymore. You know what I mean? And I thought it was interesting that they have an electric current that makes the magnet stick really strong, and you have to disengage it using the button.
I love that they have a game that teaches you, but I'm pretty sure it's paid. Well,
Brother,
that
I have to pay. This is a game or an app that I have to pay. So for you to show me how to use your console? No, I don't understand why that's not a pack-in. It's literally like it uses magnets. Here's how they work. Like, why am I paying for this? If it's anything over $5, I'm riding. There's no way.
Felt like an Astrobot. As a pack-in, it was a great one.
Awesome.
The paid price, I mean, I'm going to buy it from a store perspective because, because we do get those questions and, parents and others. So, but I was like, man, this kind of sucks. I'm trying to learn about your product. And, I love that you made it. I love that you have this weird, quirky game where I'm going to, be on a weird, whatever. I actually learned just from the trailer, just watching how the magnets and they did, the placement. And I was like, wow, that, again, from a repair. I know, obviously, you just have to, there's going to be those brave souls who just take the stuff apart and make videos in the beginning and
I fix it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, applaud them for that because obviously it needs to be done. But
again, you're telling me about your console and I have to pay for it. I'm already dropping $500 after tax.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have to pay more for you to show me how your console works. That's up to you. I'm surprised they didn't just throw it in a video and just call it a day. I have to pay for that.
Well, I say that was probably, I say controversial. That and probably the Drag and Drive, which you were.
Yeah, that was it wasn't egregious, but I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be a DJ thing because they're like, I'm like, this I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then it came on screen and I said, what? I get, that's awesome for visibility for, able-bodied folks, I guess. Or handy-capable, I guess you can say. I'm handicapped, so I feel like I can speak on this. That is awkward. That's very weird. That looks tiring.
It's very interesting. I'm just going to say from a gameplay perspective, but I mean, somebody might be like, hey, that's my life.
Yeah.
So if that's tiring for you, imagine how I feel. I mean, you've seen some. This isn't all, but I've seen some where they were pretty swole up top. Constantly just willing, and doing your stuff in your chair and stuff. And not to get too off, but the mice thing with that, you can use the Joy-Con now as a mouse. Immediately, I started thinking PC vibes in a good way. I started thinking there's going to be some point-click games.
That's what I was thinking. RTS was the big one. Civ 7,
shooters.
I'm glad they showed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking man. They're cooking. They're cooking right now because I was talking about them being 4K, talking about all these, the specs, and then you got somewhat of a mouse. You come out of a keyboard attachment.
Yeah.
You're cooking. Now, obviously, somebody's going to be PC's more powerful, this and that.
Yeah.
But if you want something, there's always that shooter community.
Metroid Prime using mouse controls, that's pretty neat.
They're cooking, man. There's somebody's listening.
That's going to be a little awkward, though,
I know. I'm eventually.
I don't know.
I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, I don't game in front of a flat surface like this. I don't have a convenient little table or desk. I game on my couch.
The Nintendo TV tray.
Yeah, right.
The mouse tray for you.
Brand it. I'm ready for it. Put me a Donkey Kong or Mario one on there.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's different themed ones. People are going to collect it. My God.
It's coming. I'm ready.
I mean, they literally, people still do collect TV trays from the 80s. So I can see them just TV trays.
Well, we've gotten that point collectability where we collect everything.
Everything.
Literally, it's this was a Pokemon. It had Pokemon cards from McDonald's.
Yeah,
the packaging. Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of that too, man. I got my Rayquaza and my Dragonite boxes folded up in my closet because of memories and stuff.
Oh, I mean, I bought at one point. It was an ad that ran in Denver, Colorado, in a local newspaper for Killer Instinct. I had the negative that I bought off of somebody on eBay. So I get it. I collect weird, wacky stuff too.
I mean, we got the Ichiban Kuji for Death Note, and I'm personally excited. Even though we've gotten 2 Mikami folders, I'm still man, this is unique merch that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And, it's probably maybe a one-time printing of this kind of stuff. I'm not saying one time it was done, but I'm just saying it's hard for us to source some of that kind of stuff. So as a fan, I'm here for it. Anytime they have weird hey, it's a keychain, manga panel keychain, or a folder that I'll probably never use, but I'll keep for the art. Yeah. I don't care. It's cool to.
It's very neat.
Packaging, like I said, newspaper clip. If you because you like I know for anyone who doesn't know, you love Killer Instinct that much. It's like if it literally has the word printed on it and it's an official capacity,
Yep.
You're down.
I actually have like a Walmart used to have. I don't know if they still have them, like gaming magazines. They're like, oh, game previews or whatever. There's 2 I found in like a Habitat thrift store that mentioned KI, and I bought them just so I can have them in like the collection. It mentioned it. I need it.
You'd be that guy like you'd have your own show now if they only had a little bit more merch. Like when you go over someone's house and they have like the Superman
oh yeah,
they're like I've bought every Superman everything. So it's like weirdest, wackiest like licensing kind of like agreements.
Oh, yeah.
You would have that. You'd have your own little special probably on YouTube.
It'd be its own room.
Yeah, exactly. And
definitely. I mean, I did.
If they had just a little bit more merch.
My old game room actually was mostly made up of KI collectibles. There was one wall above like the fireplace, and the fireplace itself just took up the whole thing. So yeah, I definitely would have that. Yeah.
I could see that, and to get back to like a little bit of the direct.
Switch,
yeah. So
one I want to bring up.
Yeah,
I was very excited.
Go for it.
Street Fighter 6, Amiibos.
That was cool.
Amiibos. I lost my mind. Are you kidding me? And you get year 1 and year 2, and they showed Elena on there too. But I was like, Amiibos? We're getting Street Fighter 6 Amiibos. Obviously, they're not going to do the whole run because there's like over 20 characters.
Still,
but like Kimberly, Luke, Dorian's going to want Luke, big time.
I'll say to like everybody who's excited watching this, like one thing I'm excited for is like the fact that they're doing those means they still care.
Yep.
They still, and I'm like just waiting now. Like what are the third parties who'll be like, hey, Street Fighter 1 did okay. Like I mean, there's a list. I know they did one for Dark Souls. I would love to see like
From Soft, yeah.
Yes, please. Like the third party was just that whole section. I love that each person kind of got to do like. Hey, I'm from,
developer,
I'm from this company, and this is what I was like, it's nice. They all got some inclusion. I'm sure that felt good, too, to like highlight their company and what they're doing.
Big time. Hitman, dude, that Project 007, I wonder what that is. Is that going to be something in the Hitman universe? Are they going to remake GoldenEye? Like, because James Bond is just an overall theme. It's not a very specific game. There's been a lot of 007 games, so I'm not sure what they're doing with that, but I was very excited.
I think, like, looking at this list, they're definitely leaning into, like, some nostalgia there. Like, Bravely Default on 3DS.
Yes.
That's one of the 3DS titles people chase. And never, that console did do pretty well. Like, I think around 60 million units, 55 is... Maybe I'm off. So, like, if I'm off, I'm off. But I believe that's roughly the take of the total console sales. But I'll just say, like, I was excited for that. I was excited for James Bond. I thought that... For GoldenEye... How many people are nostalgic, particularly for GoldenEye on 64? Have they had other 007 games since then? Absolutely.
Yep.
That's always the one.
It
revolutionized, like multiplayer, gun, like first person, and I feel like people just really have that legacy of Nintendo 64, and James Bond, like a shooter like that. So I do see that one maybe being. It's not going to be exclusive, but it was really awesome. They announced it on the Direct.
It was very exciting too because there's been a lot of development in the speedrun community for 007 too, like GoldenEye, I should say. So like just more acknowledgement is a good thing, especially now that the James Bond IP is transferring hands, and who knows what's going to happen with the movies or the characters. That. So that's exciting. I'm very excited for that.
I saw a little Amazon MGM like flash, and I was like,
biggest
thing is like they don't know what to do with the movie. They don't know what to do with like it's sitting in limbo as far as I'm aware right now. So the fact that they even got that project through, now I'll ask you this: what Bond? Since you're interested, like what Bond do you think we're getting? Bonds or Bond? Pierce Brosnan, I think, is always the easiest one.
Pierce is always the easiest, but Daniel Craig's awesome. Sean Connery is pretty good. They have a lot of good ones, honestly.
But now I'll ask you this on respect. I would personally like to see Connery.
Yeah.
Wife of me loves Sean Connery. That to me is Bond, but everyone's got their own version of who Bond is.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you think they'd use AI for his voice? Do you think they would use old clips?
I don't think they would do him because he had that bit of controversy because womanizing and all that. I'll slap a woman. I don't know if they'll touch on that. Who knows? But I think the safe bet is Brosnan and Daniel Craig.
Yeah, I mean, and Daniel and Pierce are both still alive. They're still able to record. Troy Baker did a great job of Harrison Ford for Indiana Jones. So, I mean, just saying there may be a Troy Baker, Nolan North, someone out there in the voice acting community that's can somehow just channel. I mean, because I'll just say I agree with you on the Sean aspects.
Yeah.
It's kind of like John Wayne, and I know I've read like some of the legacy and stuff.
Yeah, like I personally don't care, especially if it's for entertainment. I'm not digging into the guy's personal life or anything.
Exactly. You're taking the character, not maybe necessarily the actor who portrayed that character.
Separate the art from the artist.
Kind of argument there. And I could almost see, like, because he's got that voice that people like to imitate.
Yeah.
He's got that. I mean, obviously, just SNL did it for years and years with Will Ferrell and the Jeopardy bit. So, like, he's got that voice. People love that side.
It's like Arnold, too. It's just like
very
voices
memeable.
that you're just like, yeah.
It's got that voice kind of going for him. So, I mean, again, dude, Madden. I'm not even a Madden nut, but I understand as a Nintendo fan what that means because, again, Madden 13 on Wii U. I don't know why they skipped the Switch. Probably because of the architecture and how it was developed and how many people they thought they could get. Maybe they had a wait-and-see approach. I don't know. Obviously, Switch sales are there, and that kind of goes into this next part. Switch 1, it's always easier when you're backwards compatible.
Yeah.
Switch 1's got, I think it's the second best-selling console. I would say going to be the first with the lineup they still got going on still.
Yep.
Metroid Prime 4 is still coming. There's still some bangers coming out. That I think like Madden sees that and is like, hey, we need to get on this next call. But it's easier, again, when the other two guys are 4K and 100, all this stuff. And then I'm just going to say, like, in a way, kind of catch up a little bit. And you kind of say, hey, we're here too. Because to me, 4K is where it maxes out. They've talked about 8K and but the human eye can't really register. From what I've heard, you can't even really register past a certain point. So it's like where we're at, in my opinion, is kind of about the threshold. So
because from here on out, it's diminishing returns, hands down. That's all you're getting is like they can only do so much. That's why this new generation of consoles is focused so much on lighting and shadows and things of that nature. Is because of that. Because you can't just there's no more big giant leaps like there was back in the day for consoles and visuals and fidelity. Like there's not much you can do except for lighting. Like, oh, doesn't it look great and all that stuff. That's why HDR they have to do that and bloom and all this RTX, all that stuff. Frame generation is like all you can really do at this point. So I think Madden being on there is huge because I don't think they wanted to downgrade their assets and spend the time, especially you look at something like Hogwarts Legacy and, EA is just like, no thanks. Like it doesn't represent our brand, stuff like that. That's why companies don't like showing games before they're done because you're gonna take that and that's your perspective of whatever that is at this point going forward. You're never gonna see the improvements or anything like that.
Look at Phil Spencer and Scalebound. Guy canceled a game entire. Yeah, I know. Like an entire, like a great. I mean, in my opinion, what could have been a great game based on like how fan reception was to the trailer, and that's a great example of what you're saying. Like people will get scared. Like look at the stuff they announced. Pretty well done. Like everything was 25 or 26, like 2026. So I mean, we're all like, there's like this is finished product kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, going back to it, it's big, it's great. I'm excited. They didn't went down. I think what that leads, I was going to remember what I was going to say, is that it leads to when you have diminishing returns like that, now they got to do gameplay. Now they got to focus on story, dialogue, world building. That's going to be the point where it's like, all right, we're pretty much about as pretty as we can get. What kind of world can we create? What kind of characters? What kind of... Because, again, we've seen indie films that hit. You know why? Because you resonate with the characters. We're human. We love connections. We love stories. We love world building. I've always told people, like, if you want to create a really awesome, like, if you wanted to create something and be big for it, world build. Create something, like, look at the biggest franchises. You look at, like, Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or any of these or Star Wars. They world build it. They built out a world that you can get lost in, that you can see so many characters. You can visit so many places and worlds and languages. And that, I mean, it's a hard thing to do that and do it accurately and do it well.
Yeah.
But if you do it, that's what, I mean, those are literally some of the biggest franchises because, again, you can get lost in the world.
Yeah, and I think aesthetic matters a lot too. Like I am not good at Bloodborne. I've never even I've beat the cleric beast, but not Father Glasskiln. I don't even know how to say his name properly. That's how like far I've gotten into the game. But I love Bloodborne. I absolutely love Bloodborne. But I'm not good at it. But that aesthetic, I love that aesthetic. I fire that game up multiple times a year just so I can like be immersed in that world and that aesthetic. That's why I lost my mind at Duskbloods.
Well,
that is Bloodborne 2, man. Hands down, that's Bloodborne 2.
I can't believe we're getting, because again, I think most of these you wouldn't call exclusives. That was the big thing I did see is like Hyrule Warriors, sure, but the rest of these were all like, hey, these are games coming to Switch 2 on the third party level.
Yeah,
that was the one. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, vampires. And then I saw From Software, and that immediately grabbed me. I was like, I was captivated because actually Switch got me into Dark Souls. I played it on the go.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is lit. I was like, dude, I love this. I was like, I love this game. Like, and it was hard. And I remember just like the whole get good.
Yeah.
I just remember I would die and I'd be like, get good. And I would just keep trying and going. And like, it's great.
Yeah.
Played Elden Ring, played Dark Souls 3, played Demon Souls.
Yep.
I'm pumped. The fact that we're getting an exclusive game, I cannot believe that.
Yeah, it looks amazing too. I was very, very excited. I know my son, he was just like losing it because that looks so good.
And that's why, I'm looking at the list here. There was one that I was going to, just for the hype, Marvel, Cosmic, and I think Invasion I seen, because my handwriting is shit, so I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, I had to rewrite this like twice. This is chicken scratch. This is the best I can do.
It looks like shit, so, yeah, it looks terrible, but I can read it, and that's all that matters, I guess.
Same, yeah.
But, yeah, the Marvel, Cosmic, Invasion, like, I'm excited to go back to the 90s, excited, like, arcade days. And
I love beat-em-ups, man.
the fact that, I know it was going to be backwards compatible, but I'm pretty sure they were saying it was Switch too, I think. Yeah. So they were saying. So, dude, like I said, not to get too far from that, but the Dustbloods, get into some of these other games. A lot of these other games had already been announced. I've got written down here. Borderlands 4, Civ 7, WWE, Survival Kids looked all right. Like Star Seeker, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that I will say, though, is Final Fantasy 7 remake, integrate, PS5 version coming to Switch 2. I was impressed because these Final Fantasy games are heavy, they're big, they're graphically tough. I don't think Square Enix would have. Now, they're a big supporter of Switch. They put a ton of games out for Switch.
Yeah.
But, again, that's pretty. The Dustbloods, as far as like on a third party, AAA, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
that was huge for me.
Huge.
Like I said, Bloodborne, I love that aesthetic. I've been crying. I'm that idiot who gets hype at anything. Sony did like a trailer, like, we love PlayStation. Thanks for like 30 years. And they threw in 3 seconds of Bloodborne, and I lost it. Because I'm like, this has to be like their little hint. And then I think that just for whatever reason, Sony just doesn't want to do it or whatever. And so Nintendo's like, hey, man, can we get Bloodborne? And they were like, no. So they were like, hey, FromSoft, can you give us Bloodborne? And they're like, Dustblood. I'm
down for it. I'm ready for it. I hope this actually starts a new relationship going forward. Yeah. I don't necessarily see all exclusivity, but I hope it says, hey, you brought Elden Ring. Hey, you're bringing Dustbloods. Whether that they're not really known to bring a lot of their games. Elden Ring's one of the few I thought was kind of funny. They don't usually, like, I think like Demon Souls, they passed it on to somebody else. They didn't they didn't handle it. I'm sure they were contacted. They worked behind the scenes a little bit. Yeah. But like they were the ones who really, brought it up to speed. So like they're not known to most times go back a whole lot. I don't know if Dark Souls on Switch, if that was them or like they were kind of like made contact, but I'm excited for new games after this to see what direction this goes in. This is a strong start. Yeah. This is
Kirby Air Riders.
Masahiro Sakurai, man. The fact that every game had just like what it was, but he got the shout out credit titles
for the director,
and like even on there, they're like, "Hey, we got Sakurai." I was like, "Yep, you got." It's like that's big.
My only issue is Kirby's Air Ride sucks. So I was like, "Oh no!"
You know what I thought it was? Smash.
Yeah, because they zoomed in on the star, and I'm like, "What is it? What's happening?" And they were like, "Bloop," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Could be wrong, but like, see the fact that the star was stone. And like a lot of times, like the master hand dynamic, they're like figures or toys, or like like something will happen and wipe them out, and they're like stoned out, and he's like, "Oh God, I gotta save all the others."
Yeah, and Kirby is the main focal point of Smash. Like that's crazy.
He always like start. I think the last game starts out with Kirby. You literally I literally was like, Smash is coming, and then so it did rug pull me a little bit where I was like sitting there like, oh my God, here we go, and then I was like. I was cool because I had it for me on a fan perspective. I'm not a fan of this one like crazy. Yeah. I'm more, I guess, like excited for the community. I know there was like that group of people who were like, just like we didn't get the new F-Zero, but we got to have F-Zero GX.
I'm happy.
And it's online. You can play multiplayer. So I was like, hey, you know what? This is better than Zero for that community. I'm excited to see that they haven't completely forgotten. Like,
yeah.
they're trying to do something in the way of like, here's a little something to cook on.
GameCube online pass. That's exciting, but Soul Calibur 2 is a weird inclusion.
I actually was kind of shocked more for licensing rights on some of the picks. Like, I think that was the big one. I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one more. No, actually, all the rest of them are Nintendo titles, but
yeah,
that one shocked me that they.
I
don't know how that works.
Games, like not Sunshine.
I know
that they recently put it out, in that 3-pack, but like that's weird.
You know what? I felt, and I'm a Mario fan too, but like I felt like a little forgotten about, just a little.
Yeah,
because like the last game, that's their flagship, and listen, Donkey Kong's my bread and butter.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to like look give horse in the mouth about it. But I was like same as you, because like I was like Wind Waker. And the last one wasn't them, and then it was just a Mario Kart, and I was like, I didn't know he's like in the main flagship of Mario Party Jamboree. So we got some love. He got some love, but still a little shocked. Not even just a little teaser, just a little tiny like, hey,
next adventure coming soon.
Something's coming. Even just a screenshot of the logo.
Yeah,
and then sometimes they do that, and you're like, hey, Super Mario whatever 2027.
Yep.
Coming, so you at least have some like, oh, okay,
like now in development.
Yeah, and nothing. I was like, wow,
that was a little weird, especially considering how successful Odyssey was and how great Wonder did and all that good stuff. Mario Party. I don't know. It's just weird. I think they're maybe saving that, because that's one of the things that I've always despised about Nintendo is they're like, hey, here's our new console, and here is the tiniest peppering of games for the next 3 to 4 years. So I think maybe like them having such a strong launch lineup or launch window lineup that Mario comes in a couple of years or so. I have no idea.
Yeah, I feel that too. And they're not probably trying to every game that they have like all at one time. I mean, obviously they did a great job with Switch. Wii U, again, I remember in the dry periods, I bought a Wii U twice.
Yeah.
I bought it for Tropical Freeze, kind of looked around the library realizing, well, there's not much else beyond this for me right now for Donkey Kong. And I bought the Wii U because of Donkey Kong. Like, that was it. Bought it the second time because of Smash. I kept it because of Smash until pretty much the end. But they did a great job on Switch. Like, the problem was last time also was no third-party support on Wii U. Now we do. Now we've got, my God, like I said, the lineup is swole, man.
We got Borderlands, Civ 7, Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, Enter the Gungeon 2, Silk Song.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Hollow Knight. I can appreciate it, but the fact that everybody's been clamoring for this, and they gave a year, just a year, made like, you should watch the clips of all the chats blowing up just when that was like shown for 3 seconds on screen. Like that's huge. You've got like what? Ooh, Fast Fusion. I had to write that down because Fast RMX was like a digital-only online title for Switch 1. So having like a sequel, I don't know if that's been out or what, but
Professor Layton. I mean, that's why we had to write down this list, because there wasn't like, oh my God, just like C button specs. Third-party support was probably 20, 30 minutes on then their games too. Like hit after hit after. I know, like I said, just Yakuza 7, like, or Yakuza 7, I don't know.
Zero,
yeah.
I
was like, what? Hades 2? Like,
Corey.
Corey,
hey.
I know one thing is it's just like physical and digital. That was one big thing too. They made sure to say that, and that makes me happy. Again, a biased opinion again, but that's why I'm here. As my voice and perspective is someone who's done this for over like 11 years for me on the video game perspective, and you for a long time. We've both been lifelong fans. I'm happy that when the library goes, the digital goes down, we got physical carts to keep us going.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm glad it's cartridges. I'm glad they're red. I'm glad that
there's a differential. Yeah, oh my gosh.
Oh, from a perspective of that, like with Series X, like I had someone the other day, someone came in and they had an Xbox One, but they picked up, obviously, because the cases, they do this thing where it's like Xbox One, Series X. Sometimes it's Series X. Sometimes it's Xbox One. Sometimes they just put Xbox One up top. All kinds of different ways. Same color cases.
Yep.
I don't know if they'll make the cases different colors, but at least the carts are a great start.
Yeah.
Red. Like the white, for the 3DS and the black. Like, you could not be like, oh, this is... I'm like, it clearly was 3DS. It's clearly DS. Switch 2 is clearly, Switch 2. It's clearly Switch 1.
Yep.
So happy. I love the carts. I've already said it, but I just want them to lower the price on like developers.
Yeah.
So they can do either 16 or 32 or whatever size. That'd be just excited for the longevity, for the collector standpoint. Limited run games is probably right now celebrating hardcore. I'm just saying because that's their bread and butter too. They love to like print and like keep the physical live. So that's someone like that, for example, like all these digital titles that would probably like to do it but can't do it.
Yeah,
they're probably like, hey, because I don't know if you see all the time where it's like PS5 Pro has got that optional disk drive and they're trying to, in my opinion, a little bit of annoyance, chip at you a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. They really want to go digital. That way they don't have to invest in physical. Because I'm pretty sure that is logistically a nightmare.
Sure.
It costs millions upon millions of dollars. So them just being able to like, hey, man, here's a game, boom, and you can just download it and not have to worry about it.
It goes to me as like a collector of sorts for all kinds of things. Like, I think the narrative that I always hear, and I'm glad that everyone's wrong, including myself, because we all buy into this narrative. Like, just like whenever like online and internet stores came, oh my God, if you have a brick and mortar, you're done. You're not going to be anymore. All that stuff's way of the past. Everything will be online shopping. Digital games, everyone's like, you're going to be gone. Vinyl records, it doesn't make sense. And that's one that a lot of people like. It just, I know there's going to be, again, audiophiles and always all that stuff, but it ultimately doesn't 100% make sense. And I have vinyl records, and I can say it doesn't always make sense, but I like tangible, physical products. I like being able to look at the liner art. It really appreciates instead of just a picture on my phone or my computer. And that's what I really enjoy about like digital games is like I like being able. I miss going into Best Buy, actually getting to shop.
Oh man, yeah.
I miss that community. That's why I think like stores like ours, like like whether you're doing video games or trading cards or just having a community, a third space to go, whether you do like organized play or anything like that, just being able to go somewhere and be like, hey, I want to talk to other people like what we're doing right now.
Yep.
And enjoy this and have a great time. And it's just such an essential thing. And
I like when I'm shopping for something, I want to see it in person. I'd rather see it in person and look at it and be like, oh yeah, plus I have a better perspective. Like Amazon has this thing where you like view in your room, but that doesn't, if I move the phone like this, it's going to look bigger. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like I like being able to look at it and go, okay, this seems nice. And here's the features. Oh, I can get along with this. Having it just show up at your door is not, I mean, it's convenient, I guess, but it's not as awesome as it is just going somewhere and checking it out.
And that's like, not too far from me, but like that's why I'm really appreciative Switch 2's doing that. And I hope in the future Nintendo keeps doing that. I hope they seem like out of the three right now, attitude-wise, that they are the most like, hey, we want this to happen. We're okay with it. It's cool. I think it's, we saw Target and Best Buy get rid of all their movies. And like we have a friend, Mark, over at like Orbit DVD in Asheville, North Carolina. Come check it out. He's really cool. Yeah. But and great website in case you're far away. But it's a great example. Like he is like the best movie selection I've seen ever. It's amazing. I love going there. And so I will say, good thing is, big guys, you want to get out. Leave. Yeah. Get more room for all of us. Let us curate. Let us take our knowledge, ability, and expertise and allow that for customers to enjoy that. To get perspectives, to get like someone who's in the, like in the weeds every day with this stuff and be like, hey, what do you like? What do you don't like?
I like doing that. That's a lot better than, because sometimes I get frustrated with the website, especially on my phone, let me get more information, but there isn't that exact information I'm looking for, or I go to click something and it doesn't give me what I want, or the page shifts. Yeah. I like when somebody comes in and it's like, hey, I need a game for my son. He's 10. What do you recommend? And I just going over everything and then making suggestions. I think that's a better experience than just trying to shop online and, here's what other people bought. Like, what do I care? That's not me.
Yeah. That's why, Alex, I hope that always continues. I love being one of Barnesville forever. And I miss like some of the smaller independent stores. And they've had to evolve a lot, to stay relevant. Like they're always constantly changing. And that's kind of what you got to do in retail in general. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the new changes. For anybody who doesn't know about pre-orders, and just to say for our perspective, unfortunately, we don't have a great supplier. So we used to. They were in business 35 years, and I guess they just closed the shop. Like we're getting like an awesome console selection, different things. But just saying, in case to answer that question on here for you guys, we won't be getting games. May be a difference. So we always get the software a lot easier than hardware. I saw pre-orders, kind of to help direct people who are watching this. You can go April 9th. I'm pretty certain that's going to be one. And then I don't know if it's going to be the shadow drops. I don't know if it's going to be 3 a.m. or you got to go in stores.
Well, somebody had said online, or at least on Twitter, and they had a picture and everything. It comes from Nintendo's official website where the online through Nintendo themselves.
Oh, yeah, that one I love.
Yeah, that, like, you have to be an ongoing, continuously member of Nintendo.
12 months.
Yeah, 12 months in order to get it. And you also have to have, concurrent, like...
50 hours.
Yeah, played and all that stuff. And you need to be, like, an actual fan of Nintendo and a gamer in order to pre-order through them. Now, retail stores are going to have their own versions of whatever they're going to do, but Nintendo's not going to dictate that. But if you have Nintendo Online membership and you play the games and everything, you will have a better chance.
And just to kind of say more about that, like April 9th will be general retailers, and I know Nintendo's is May 8th. And they're going to give you an email, and you have 72 hours from that email to act like, I don't know if it's going to be. I've heard the numbers on this that's the article for like a year or two.
Yeah.
And I will say one last thing that it just kind of reminds me of is like, remember Switch Pro, like rumors. I think now that we're here today and we're like seeing this, Switch Pro was probably Switch 2. Maybe there was a Pro. Maybe it existed. Maybe they decided like, what are we doing? Like, why don't we call it a 2 and just make it the next console? Even though it kind of already was, if that's what it was. But,
yeah.
So like, now that we're seeing the specs, I'm seeing the stuff, that was 100%, I think, what was going out to the dev kits, what was a year or two ago. I think this is what we were talking about, we were seeing.
Yeah, I think so too. But also, I'd like to think anyway that like Nintendo and NVIDIA were just like, hey man, or AMD, I'm not sure who's doing this one this time. I don't know if it's another NVIDIA chip or what. But I like to think that they were like, all right, we got enough for a Pro. But, like, we also came out with this chip. Check it out. Nintendo's like, we'll just do that one.
Yeah.
I like to think that's how it went down because there were so many Pro rumors and so many, like, confirmed sources.
Yeah, dev kits apparently that were out there and
even insiders, and it just never happened. So
yeah, I definitely agree. So I'm excited now that we're here, and that's excited for the pre-orders. I'm excited to see what happens. Good luck to everybody out there. Best Buy and GameStop both have like the sign-ups you can do. You can kind of go. Yeah, you can go there and like I know on the website sign up. I went in store. I went online. Like I want it. I'm not going for the Mario. I want a physical copy, so I want to do the other one. And I need it for Donkey Kong, man. I need Bonanza in my life. So.
I need to get 2. My son wants one too, and I'm gonna have to camp out.
Shoot. Yeah, for 2, I don't. Well, what I would do, try to go for your April 9th and then go for the May 8th.
Yeah, I'm going to have to just do something. And if I can't get those, I'm going to have to camp out.
If you got 12 hours, or 12 months, sorry, of the Nintendo, get your 50 hours in before.
Yeah.
I swear, there's some scalper out there now who has the 12 months, coincidentally.
Yep.
And he's grinding. He's like, I got to play. And he's going to take his 50 hours between here and now. And like, but I bet you it's a limit of 1. So like,
oh yeah.
I love all this, like, because I am so tired of like, it sucks. I'm not going. Well, I think limited run games was one of the first people. Amiibos was another one.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not going to blame it all on those two, but I'm just going to say those two, the demand, the scout, basically what ended up happening. I think anytime it's like Pokemon cards. Anytime people, even outsiders, see like a high price tag, and they're like, they may not understand it, they don't collect it, but they understand money. They understand this is MSRP 160, it's going for 250. Hey, I don't have a store, but I can buy this in a store and make money.
Yep.
And I'm so glad they're doing something from their perspective. How much they police the big retailers, I don't know.
I don't think that they will.
It's going to be a smorgasbord.
And that's the problem is pre-orders and rare stuff like that or limited stuff I can't stand because it's a second job at that point. Where can I get it? They're going to have availability between 8 and 9 a.m. on Tuesday. And it's just like, what am I doing? Why am I scheduling my life around a release? I should be able to just buy it. Just make enough. Or if you're going to come out with the product and you're not sure if it's going to be high in demand, take pre-orders before production so you have an idea of what you need to make.
Well, like when I was buying, it was an Adventure Time limited edition hoodie through Welcome Skateboards. I was buying one for my wife, Bailey, And I was going on there, and I knew I had to get, and they were selling out. It literally came out at 12:30, 1 o'clock. I had to, like, you feel the pressure. It does not matter anymore what the product is. It could be the dumbest product of all time.
Yep.
And you're like, you feel that pressure, the FOMO, the pressure of like, hey, you got it. Are you thinking about getting this? Did you think about it for a second? You might as well grab it. And I hate that. Shoes, Donkey Kong Air Maxes. I literally was like, I'd like to maybe be able to get that. And then like I go to look and it's gone. And it's literally like only 4 days after the shoe. And I'm like, this is insane. Like you have to be, like you said, so well informed.
Yep.
So like plugged in. You got to keep up like several tabs, like credit card ready. You know, like the last topic I'd like to talk about is the Magic the Gathering Secret Lair SpongeBob cards that came out.
Hold on. Before that, just a small tangent. You literally have to do work to get anything at launch. Home Depot. I've wanted that 12-foot skeleton for years. What I finally had to do, I had to join a Facebook group that was run by people who worked on the inside of Home Depot. And they would announce. So it's what, April 2nd today. They've already shown what they're going to release this year. Mm-hmm. And they're going to release them. A small limited release, April 21st, for Halloween. That's
where we are.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, Secret Lair, go ahead.
No, I mean, but that's you're right on the point, man. Like when I did a meet, now it's been a while. This is like first wave and 2, and I was really into it, and I collected. I still collect some, but like you get to the point where you get too many, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna curate this. But I used to have to do the Reddit. I remember a couple mornings where I was up, like one morning. I remember GameStop to get Ness was an exclusive. I went and it was 3, but they announced it on. This is the problem. If they Ness, an amiibo, a Ness figure, really, I mean, and it crashed GameStop's website and their in-store POS like crashed it for like 30 minutes to an hour. I was the second or third person in that line. Took me an hour to check out in person because their systems crashed from the general amount of online and in-store traffic pulling down. Magic the Gathering. So, okay. The Secret Lairs, if anybody doesn't know, they do like small batches of like, I think I've seen like 4 to, I'm just going to say 7 cards in a batch, like probably more like 4 to 6.
Yeah.
And they do this stuff that wouldn't normally fit. You know what I mean? SpongeBob is kind of out there for Magic, doesn't fit the high fantasy kind of vibe. But they've been doing this whole Universes Beyond thing, like that are beyond like Magic the Gathering, and they've had Assassin's Creed launch, or the Rings, they're doing Final Fantasy, which everyone's excited for.
Oh.
SpongeBob is kind of the one where like it's fun as a meme, but it's also like people have been like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
I got it, but again, like I had to be, I had to like several alarms, card set, sign in, checked my addresses, had the card ready, had everything going, and like I got in at 12, got my stuff, but it took 40 minutes. But other people, apparently the website crashed for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
It actually took it down. Like they've never had that. It just like straight up took the website down. And it's just like that's where we're at. Like we're stores, we're people, we're others. No matter what angle you're going at with this stuff, people are just like.
They're insane.
Everybody is at that point where it's like, they used to be prints of demand, and people hated that because it wouldn't matter. It'd be like, hey, this is going to be up for a week. But then people probably are like, oh, where's my stuff? It's been 4 months. It's been 5 months.
Yeah.
I like to print that. Limited run games, giving the credit for this. They used to do the whole, hey, we're doing 10,000. This is it, or whatever number, and this is it. Then they switched to print to demand of a 2-week to a month window.
Yep.
I know this is other people give them a lot of like flack for this. I'll say.
Oh yeah.
And I get it because like 1.5 year window sometimes. I've heard that. I've seen that. It's
sometimes longer.
Like,
that's insane.
I have seen that before. It's one of those things where I can say like I'll just speak to guys like we either have it one way or we don't. We either have it. They ship the SpongeBob cards. I got it today.
Yeah.
Or you get it and you have to wait 6 to 8 months. I wish there was a happy medium.
Yeah.
But this is just not, because you either got to do printing and like get it all together, packaged all nicely.
Yeah.
Or you have it on hand and you're just like, hey, it's ready. This is the amount. But I don't know. I guess I wish they did a Deadpool, to give them credit, April Fools. And I thought it was an April Fool's joke. Now I got these. They did Deadpool. And like Deadpool's I love because it has one that says Deadpool, trading card. Like he's doing like a breaking the fourth wall kind of card. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. I didn't even click on it, but they were actually up for like 9 hours because everyone didn't know because it was April Fool's. It was Deadpool.
Yep.
I thought it was more like teasing Deadpool, like, hey, Deadpool's coming. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then like I actually like later saw like started seeing the Reddit post, the Facebook post, and I was like, oh, I better like if I want this again,
you better jump on it,
dude. I hate this FOMO stuff, and like the other thing with like SpongeBob that I hate for people is they're finding I didn't even know there was sometimes secret cards in the secret layers. There's like 3 or 4. There's the command tower. There's this member which has got the guy going my leg, and I love that.
My leg.
Yes, I love it. I still love the my leg. And like, you know, like, and I'm like the meme when they have the counter spell where he's like SpongeBob's doing a mocking pose, and it's got the text is like, you know, just like you think it's spelled like lowercase and uppercase.
Counter spell. Like,
yeah, exactly.
sarcastic.
And that was the secret card. And then Smothering Tithe, which is like. I've seen sales of $400 to $1,100 for a secret card. God. What are we doing? What are we doing? You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that happened with Splatoon. I remember they had an exclusive squirt gun when you bought Splatoon.
I remember.
And I showed up to that Target, and there was a huge line. I'm like, damn, for Splatoon? It was for the gold Mario amiibo.
Oh.
And so people are talking like, oh, you're here for the gold. I'm like, no, Splatoon. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's a game, and then there's a squirt gun you get if you buy it. And they're like, what? Like 4 people bought it just for that squirt gun because they thought it was going to be like limited because nobody knew about it. They went for like $100 on eBay. I was like, what the hell are we doing?
That's the problem, man. Is like everything has become like gold almost.
Yeah.
Like I love and hate it. Like, you know, we get like trade-ins where people like, and the reason stuff from the 90s and 2000s, even the 80s, worth something is because nobody collected it. Everyone trashed the boxes. Everyone didn't think 2 things about it. And, you know, we always get the conversation. it's my favorite line. I had all this. You know, like they'll come in and point it and they're like a whole shelf of like 200 games. And they're like, I had all these. You know, I'm like, well, I might have had like 30 or something. You know what I mean? Like really reasonable numbers. But everybody has had everything. And like, I guess like even then our FOMO kicks in. Like they'll see a $300 game. I had that. I've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a human part of us because like, you see the missed opportunity there.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess, like, I'll say, because I don't know how long we've been going for, so I don't want to get too out of bounds. I'll keep it somewhere in this range. But we got to get to a point where we just kind of accept, like, squirt guns shouldn't have to be a collectible. It should be something that it's fun. It's fun. That's where we need to get back to is, like, point of, like, Switch, it's fun. You know, SpongeBob, it's cool to be like in the middle of a game and be like pull counterspell and be like boom and and I get things should be worth money too if you want it to be, but like I don't know, I wish it was a happy medium between.
Yeah, everything's a hustle now. It's just like, oh, this might be worth something. Oh my god.
Yeah, like
get in now before it goes to the moon. You know, it's just the same mentality. Yeah,
because you know what, and this is something I do see. If you run out all the communities, if you push out the most passionate people who are paying your prices. Who are you going to sell your stuff to?
Exactly.
You know, like I love the models that like a lot. Again, trading cards really do kind of more or less try to foster that organized play, you know, local game store kind of vibe of like community, and they do like that's such a huge part of like their core, their infrastructure. I think with esports, that's like the video game equivalent is kind of sort of catching up, but like we got some work to do. We got a lot of work to do there.
Yeah.
But, like, I love seeing that. I love seeing the passion, the friendship, the community, the people gathering together. It's amazing. When we did, like, a lot more Smash tournaments back in the day, got up to 80 people, I've seen so many friendships and people hanging out. And there's still people coming to the store today. I love seeing them. Love seeing them. And I wouldn't have ever known who they were if they didn't come. So
Shout out Dylan Landis. What's up?
Yeah. I'm just going to say, like, as an ending note for me, you know, however you... Keep being part of that community. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep building these communities. We love all of it. We love being a part of it. Thank you. As you know, this is our first episode. Thank you for allowing us. This is our 10 years being here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this with you guys and supporting us and allowing us to be here. We love it, guys. There's more episodes to come. We're going to be on a bi-weekly is what we're shooting for, bi-weekly status. Come out on Fridays. This will be out. This is Wednesday. We're filming it today, shortly after Switch 2. This will be coming out. So look forward to seeing us on Fridays and stuff. He's K0 on social media. Like I said, his links will be following. We have our website, redfoxgamingonline.com, our store in Hickory, North Carolina, Red Fox Gaming. Feel free. All our links will be below. Guys, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Agreed. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, opinions, rants, just feel free to let us know. Just reach out to us. We'll look at them. We'll look at everything.
Try to.
Yeah.
It's a lot sometimes, but bear with us. So, all right. Well,
that's it from us.
That's us. Moose.
Appreciate you guys.